Hello, everyone, and welcome to Buy Bags. I'll be your reviewer for today. I'm Lonnie from Horror Heaven 77, filling in for James. And the movie that I want to talk about is a 2000 true crime film that really, this movie is genuinely unsettling. It's genuinely creepy and frightening. And I just really wanted to talk about it. And the movie is called Citizen X. Now, this is a very well made movie, and it details the investigation and eventual capture and trial and execution of Andrei Chikatilo, Russia's most notorious serial killer, who over many, many years, he ended up murdering over 52 victims, mostly children, boys and girls. And he did really, really horrible things to them: mutilation, cannibalism, sexual assaults. I mean, just all kinds of horrible, ghastly things he did to them. And so, yeah, just uh, the story takes place, in Russia, and you have a forensics expert named Viktor Burakov, who's played by Stephen Ray, who, you know him from like Interview with the Vampire, Crying Game, all kinds of movies. Very well known Irish character actor. So anyway, so Burakov, he wants to have a better living situation with his family in Russia. And the only way that he can do that, he has to take a promotion. And he does get a promotion to become, go from forensics expert to a detective. And so he takes it. And then the first case that he's given, he's working under a colonel played by Donald Sutherland. And that's like a thing too. You got some really, really name talent actors in this movie. So basically, Donald Sutherland's character becomes his superior, and basically he has to answer to him and work for him. And so he starts trying to investigate the case. And then, but the biggest problem is that over there in Russia at this time, they just didn't have what they needed to detect and catch serial killers and things like that. And so, Burakov starts kind of looking into the methods about, detecting and catching serial killers, in like America and other parts of the world. And so he's trying to go to his superiors, the main one, Joss Ackland. We all remember him from like House of Drip Blood and movies like that. And he's trying to, he wants to get like, computer access. He wants to get this. He wants to get that. He wants to bring in a basically kind of a psychologist, kind of a profiler, and just everything. I mean, he is fighting so hard to get every little thing that he can to, do his, to solve his case. And in the meanwhile, you have Chikatilo, who's played by Jeffrey DeMunn. I mean, come on, we know Jeffrey DeMunn from all the Frank Darabont movies. We know him from The Mist, Shawshank Redemption, Green Mile. We know him as Dale on The Walking Dead. So I mean, Jeffrey DeMunn, yeah, the Blob remake, with Kevin Dillon, he was the sheriff. Christmas Evil, I can go on and on, but we don't have all day for that. But so anyway, so Chikatilo, meanwhile, he's going around and he's, picking up all these, stray people from, mostly it's the railroads and, the train stations. He's going and he's finding these people that are loners, people that, just are just, kind of on their own. And so he just, he acts like he's going to take them under his wing and that he's going to, befriend them and, be kind to them. But ultimately he takes them to the woods and he ends up murdering them. And the killing scenes in this movie, now the movie's not overly gory. There is some blood and a little bit of gruesomeness to it, but the killing scenes are incredibly disturbing. We find out that Chikatilo is sexually, impotent, I guess you could say. He did have a condition where he had water in the brain, and it caused him. He could not maintain an erection, and he would have problems with with bladder control and things like that. And so anyway, so like at one point he's trying to have sex with his wife, and his wife is telling him that he's pathetic. His wife is incredibly abusive, and but at one point he's having sex with one of his victims and she starts laughing and then he stabs her in the stomach. And the way it's done, the way she starts shaking and screaming and everything else, and he's like stabbing her, it's incredibly hard to watch. And, but this movie, it's very, very, it's very interesting, especially if you're into true crime. And, you know, um, also too, it's like, it's very interesting to see how criminal detecting techniques, differ from, like say from America to Russia. I think Russia is definitely more updated now, but at this time, see, I want to say this was back like in the 1980s, maybe even earlier than that when all this happened. But anyway, so yeah, he just, like he keeps, like Stephen Ray's character, he just keeps, running up against a brick wall. And, it's like no matter what he wants to do to try to detect, find out who the killer is, like he just keeps, getting so much resistance and things like that. And, Donald Sutherland is, at first, Donald Sutherland is not helping him at all. But as the story goes on and the more people are dying, the more Donald Sutherland's character becomes more of an ally and trying to help him out and trying to get him what he needs. And ultimately it gets to the point where, even Burkov even has a mental breakdown. You know, he's like, having all these nightmares. Like like one scene he gets up and runs in and, and he grabs his kids out of bed and he's hugging them and he's crying his eyes out. And ultimately he finally, he investigates he investigates his case for years. Ultimately, he hits a point he can't even do it anymore. He never takes a vacation. So finally, uh, Donald Sutherland's character tells him, you're going to take a month off. And, Joss Ackland is like, he's unfit, and everything else. But, Donald Sutherland, stands up for him and helps him and does things that, he needs to do. And he starts getting, when he comes back, when Burkov comes back, he's like, uh, the colonel tells him, like now you have a phone call with this, like FBI profiler in America and things like that. They finally bring in their own profiler played by Max von Sydow, and he starts building up a profile of, who ultimately becomes Chikatilo. And at one point, though, what's really frustrating is at one point in the movie earlier, they do catch him, and that's the thing. But because he was part of the the Russia Communist Party, Burkov is forced to let him go, and so he just kept going on and on. But ultimately, though, I mean, this movie it's incredibly, it's interesting. It's a very interesting true crime movie. It's interesting to see how things differ from here over in Russia, and ultimately, you got really great actors bringing their A game. Stephen Ray is fantastic. Max von Sydow, unfortunately, he's not in the movie that much, but when he's in there, he's a scene stealer like he always is. He's fantastic. Donald Sutherland is great. Jeffrey DeMunn really does bring, a real creepy presence as Chikatilo. And yeah, I highly recommend this movie. I mean, this, if you come across this movie on DVD or whatever, I don't know if you could watch it on Netflix or not, but if you come across this movie, yeah, I definitely recommend you check it out. It's very interesting, an intriguing story. Just kind of like the kind of thing that, the kind of movie that if you really love true crime, this is what you want to watch. So anyway, yeah, I think I pretty much said about all, like, also too, there are documentaries about Chikatilo that are incredibly fascinating as well, but this movie is very well made. They did make another movie about Chikatilo but the movie is called Evelenko with Malcolm McDowell. So that one's a pretty interesting movie to watch as well. But yeah, the movie's very disturbing. It's suspenseful, not overly gory, but there is some blood and some carnage in here. But anyway, so yeah. So yeah, if anybody took the time to watch this, I thank you for doing it. I appreciate you for doing it. I also hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the Body Bags channels. The Body Bags channel. Sorry, I just got home from work. So anyway, yeah, we have a different reviewer for every day of the week. I'm usually the Saturday reviewer. And we got great guys. They're all doing good stuff. And, come on back. And everybody have a good night. Take care. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye.